Yo, good morning, gang. As always, I hope everybody's feeling good, feeling great, and feeling wonderful. All that good stuff. I myself am feeling pretty good. I'm about halfway through my coffee already, so yeah, I'm a little bit jittery, but other than that, we feel good. It's a little chilly outside. It is what, Wednesday, October 5th, and we are back with another morning prep video. If you don't know what my videos are about, we just technically just talk over the ES and some of the potential tradable levels for today, and then just kind of get an overall analysis of the E-mini S&P 500. So if that sounds like something that you want to stick around for, highly appreciate it. And I hope that you enjoy the content. And if not, no harm, no foul. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of other places that you can get the kind of content, if not better, of course. Yeah. So with all that being said, man, let's get right into the video and let's see what we got for today. All right. So per usual, we like to start on the daily time frame, and we just like to get a little bit of a bigger picture, see what's going on here before we start going down into the intraday levels, right? So a few things that I want to talk about here on the daily. Is that we crossed above this, right? So we'll start with the fact that we finally crossed up and over this like 3750 area. And if you were, if you watched yesterday's video, we mentioned how this area right here, we were waiting to either cross up and over and then close above it, right? This was an area of resistance that we were watching. We wanted to make sure, or not even make sure, but while we were watching this, we were keeping a close eye on where we were, whether we were above this or below, right? Yesterday was obviously for the Bulls, right? We kind of just ran above this and never looked back, right? So now the plan going forward would be to watch this area play as support now, right? We got to push up over this. We would like, if any, if there's a pullback or anything like that, to hold above this if we're to remain even, remotely bullish, right? And I'll show you guys that when we go down into the 4 hour time frame just a little bit better, right? So let me see. That's that. Also, let me just switch this to that right there, and you guys can see now a little bit clearer, or a little. You can actually see the range that we were in, right? So this was the range that we were in like all last week and like Monday. I think this week, yesterday we broke out of it. So yeah, Monday Friday we had broke out of that range. Monday we pushed back into the range, and then yesterday pushed up and out of that range, right? So another thing to note here on the daily is that this range here now, we had a couple look and fails to the downside, and now we had a push up, close above, and then obviously this is looking bullish. Let's see what happens today, right? But look below and fail. Is this a look above and fail? Based on the girth of this candle right here, I don't I don't think so, right? I don't think that all the sellers come back in and push us down in here. But I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, right? After a week of sitting and testing the top of the range, coming back to the bottom, then going back to the top, after a week of doing that, yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if we pushed back into this range today, all right? But that's just a few takeaways from the daily here. Nothing much else that I want to kind of go over here. Obviously, we have this little gray box right here. This is our next level of resistance. So if we do continue the run up from Monday and Tuesday, around 38.30s is somewhere that I expect some resistance, right? I actually thought that we were going to hit that yesterday. So the buyers didn't get us all the way up there, but they still, yesterday was still their day, obviously. So we'll see if they continue today and we get to that resistance or not, right? Okay, so let's just go down to the 4 hour. We're done there on the daily. I don't like to spend too much time trying to over analyze some things, you know what I'm saying, because then I start getting confused. I ain't gonna lie. But you know what I'm saying, I just like to keep it simplified for these little morning preps, right? So here we go. On the 4 hour, you can see here, this is that gray line, or the gray like little highlighted area box right here. And actually, let me just for anyone who didn't see yesterday's video, this is where we got that from, right? This was resistance right here, broke up, came down. We kind of just traded around this area for a while, but then eventually started using this area as support. Came up, came down, there was support again, went up, came down, there was support, here support, crushed the support here, and then it becomes resistance there, right? uses that same area as resistance here, and now we're up and above that, right? So what we want to see today is, obviously if you want to be more bullish than bearish, right, we want to see that area hold. All right, so any pullback today, obviously in pre-market it looks like we're already headed back towards that area, but any pullback for today or anything like that, as long as we hold this area, 37.50s, 37 all the way to like 37.30s, like if we can hold this area and then maybe just kind of consolidate around this area, anything like that, and then bounce back up, then we should be all right, because we have this, what, 35.71 low. If we get a low up here, then obviously we have now a nice little higher low after coming from lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and then we kind of, that's when we got stuck in this range right here. We had this lower lows, right, all these lower lows, and now we have a potential to set a higher low. Matter of fact, I mean, we just kind of already did, right? Yesterday's low now right here is a higher low than this, and these obviously, but we want to see that higher low on like a pullback, right? I personally myself would like to see this kind of come back down, hold this area right here, create a higher low around here, and then just take off, right? So low, pullback, higher low, take off, right? I'm not gonna draw that. You guys get the gist, right? I guess I'll draw it, whatever. Come back here, hit that, take off, something like that. Boop, boop, boop. All right. I ended up drawing it because I like to draw. All right. All right. There's our 4-hour take on that. Nothing else really to just kind of talk about here. Right? We are between this area of resistance and this support. So basically, that's just kind of the gist. That's just kind of what I'm looking at today, right? Are we gonna go down and bounce off this, head towards that? Are we gonna open, go up, hit this, resist there, come back down, support there, or what have you? That's just kind of what, watch this range right here. Watch, bounces here, rejects here, or anything like that. That's something that I have on watch for sure, right? And where do we get this upper box? I'll show you guys that real quick before we go to another time frame here. And you can see that one right here, right? We came down through here, resistance, came back up, was used as resistance a little bit, then like I believe this is pre-market, flew up, came back down, consolidated in this box, kind of traded in this area for a while. You can see there's a lot of trading around this area, a lot of like little sideways movement whenever we get in this area. So that's a decent area right here. Is used as support, and then over here crushed it, resistance, came back down. So that's an area that I at least would expect some type of slowdown or anything if the bulls are still here today, right? If the bulls are here, Monday, they were here yesterday, and if they're here today, obviously you can see all this white right here, which is obviously green candles, all this run up. I'm not saying that it has to happen. I'm not saying a pullback has to happen. Any type of slowdown has to happen, but typically markets don't move in a straight line up, right? So here's a straight line. Maybe it's time to do some relaxing and whatnot, and maybe that's what we're getting a picture of here on the pre and post market, right? But who knows? We'll only know once the market opens and once the day is over, right? So let's go ahead and go down into our 15-minute time frame, and actually I'm going to use 2 days, 15 minutes. We're going to switch this over to my pre-market lines, and we're going to talk about some of our levels. And before we talk about the trading opportunities or trading ideas that I have or anything like that for today, we're going to get into our 3 questions, right? If you are new to the channel, we always ask ourselves 3 questions. The 3 questions will dictate whether we have a opportunity for a play right at the opening bell, or if we should be patient and wait for an opportunity to present itself a little bit after the opening bell. So maybe wait like 10 minutes, 15, 30. I personally, if I don't see any plays coming off rip, like at 9:30, right at the bell, then I would wait about like 30 minutes. I'd wait till about 10, get an opening range, and then, look for an opening range breakout or something like that. All right. But yeah, so these 3 questions will dictate, though, if there is a possibility for a play right at the opening bell. All right. So question number 1 is, where is price currently trading? Right. We're down here. Where's price currently trading in relation to yesterday's overall range, right? So here's yesterday's high. I'm going to drag that all the way down here to yesterday's low. That way you can see. And in this box, where's price currently in relation to this entire box? Well, we're inside of the box, right? The answers that you'd be looking for is, 1, are we inside of the box? 2, are we up and over the box, right? Are we outside of the box to the upside, or are we outside of the box to the downside, right? So the fact that this is inside of the box for question number one does give us a more balanced day kind of answer, right? So this would kind of just automatically indicate that no, there is not a possibility for a play at open, and therefore we should be patient and wait, right? So that's what question number one is already kind of telling us, okay? Question number two is, where is price currently trading in compared to the overnight ranges, right? So here's overnight high. I'm going to drag that down to the overnight low. And where's price trading at in comparison to this range, right? In relation to this range, where's price trading at? Now, this one, you know, the answer is always going to be inside of the range, right? Because if the overnight low were to just get lower, I would just grab the line and move it down, right? So you're always going to be inside of the range. But what you want to look at here is, are we near the bottom? Are we near the overnight low? Or are we closer to the overnight high, right? So we know that the answer to this one is closer to the overnight low. So this is obviously a little more bearish than bullish, right? The fact that question number one was balanced means that the answer to this question isn't going to be too important. Had number one been something like we're opening in a gap down, right? Had question number one been we're opening down here, then question number two would mean that if we were closer to the overnight low and we were already very bearish, right? We were already beneath yesterday's range, that we might have a possibility for a gap play back up and into that range, right? I know it's probably a little bit confusing what I just said, because I can't draw it. I can't kind of show you guys what I meant. But you kind of, I'll try to explain it a little bit better actually. So if question number one was we were opening underneath the range, right? So if this was yesterday's range, if question number one was we were opening down here outside of that range, then question number two would indicate if we have a nice setup, right? Because we would want to be closer to the overnight low, right? Let's say the overnight low was down here, and I'm just gonna draw these just to kind of give you guys an idea, right? Let's say this was the overnight low, and we were also opening down here, right? So if we're opening right here, and this is the overnight low, we're opening right here, this is yesterday's range, you can see that there's a clear gap, right? Between here and down here, there's a playable gap. And what we would want to do, right, we want to open closer to the overnight low, right? And that's where we get our question number two, right? Where's relation to the overnight high, overnight low? Well, since we're closer to the overnight low, which would be the answer here, right, in our hypothetical scenario right now, we're closer to the overnight low, meaning that when price opens down here, if we were to, like, let's say trickle down a little bit lower, hit that overnight low, maybe cross below it, fail, and start to come back up, we can definitely start looking for this gap to close, right? And there's your play right there. Now, the reason we want the overnight low to be price to be closer to the overnight low is because that's going to be your stop loss, right? Cross below, fail, start to close this gap, the overnight low is your stop loss, right? So from here, right, where price is at right now, right, let's say 37.20 to the overnight low at 37.18. Now remember, this is in our hypothetical example right now. Your stop loss would only be 3-4 points. But if we were opening up here on this kind of gap close, this kind of gap play or whatever, let's say we're opening like something like right here, you get in, right, you kind of come down a little bit, it hits the overnight low, starts to come back up, crosses this opening print, and then you decide to go long and try to close this gap, right? Well, now you've got from here to here is your gap close, but from here to here is your stop loss, right? And that's just the stop loss is just farther, and it's more risky, less appealing, right? Let's just get it at that. If it's closer to the overnight low, or let's say we were opening in a gap up and it's closer to the overnight high, you have a better setup just overall. All right. If that was confusing, please let me know. Hit me up in the DMs on Discord or Instagram or anything like that, and I'll try to explain a little bit better. All right. Now, question number three, it's a little simple here. What you want to do is you want to take where closing price was yesterday, right? So right around here we closed. I'm going to make that line blue right there, right? So this is where we closed. Question number three basically asks how much time was spent above where we closed yesterday and how much time was spent below, right? we can see that there was very little time spent above. Like this is, I would give this 100% activity was spent below, even though this was up here. I mean, it was very short-lived. If you want, you can say 95% net short, 5% net long. And what this question does is just kind of gives you an idea of the inventory overnight, right? We know that because this is 95% net short, that the inventory may be overly to the, overextended to the downside, right? There's people who probably went short around here, or actually like a worse position would be down here, right? Let's say anybody who went short right here. The minute we open and start to run up, and when, let's say we cross above like this level right here, we cross above this, these guys right here are probably going to get shaken out of their shorts, right? Because they're like, all right, you know what, we were wrong. All this rundown, we got in short, we got in kind of late. These guys got a better position, these guys got a better position, so they're all right. But if you got in short down here, as soon as the we open around here and cross up and over, these guys start to close out, and then that kind of just gives us the push back up that we need, and then that's kind of like a snowball domino effect, right? All these guys getting stopped out pushes up here. Then if price keeps going, these guys get stopped, these guys get stopped, and then there you go, snowball effect all the way back up, right? So that's kind of like what the inventory gives us. And really, when question number 1 is giving you the answer of a possible play, right? Because remember, question number 1 is the literally like the one. If question number 1 is a balance day, then no, you don't, for the most part, you don't have a chance for a play right at open. You should be patient and wait, right? So because that's the answer that we have today, then really overall, I'm already sitting on my hands the first 30 minutes, right? Now there's one more thing I want to point out here on this 15-minute time frame before the video ends, right? Because we're almost done here. We have this dotted purple line right here, and this is a set of single prints from yesterday, right? We know that we had this run up right here yesterday, this big candle right here. Well, this guy on the market profile, we can go over there real quick, show you guys this right here. You set up all these ones right here. You guys see all these, the number 1 right here? All right, and if you're new to market profile, I mean, just kind of try to understand this, right? All these ones are by themselves, right? You see how all these other numbers got other numbers next to them, right? Price traded in these, yesterday, ES traded at these prices for a good amount. That's why we have like a build up here, sideways trading or anything. But this set of single prints, just these set of loaners right here, means that there's no, look at the volume right here. Look, this is the volume. There's no volume down here, right? So what I'm getting at is that we should expect that if price gets down there below this like 37.67 during the market open, right? When the market opens, if we're down here and we start to push down, this should be as easily pushed down as it was up, right? This ran up smooth like butter. We should be able to run through that just smooth as butter, right? There's single prints. We shouldn't expect any resistance there. We should just kind of fly right through that, right? So that's something else that I will be watching for today. I'd keep that on watch, right? Because we can use this area of single prints as support, right? If we keep bouncing off this area, you can see now just here in pre-market, we kind of keep bouncing off that area, right? When market opens, if we refuse to go under here, if we get no acceptance down here and start to run back up, then it may mean that the bulls are still here. There aren't any sellers. The sellers are not strong enough, all that stuff. But I would expect that after all this rundown, these guys kind of just giving back everything that happened here yesterday. After all this rundown, and one more thing before I continue that sentence, peep this. We are outside of the value area, okay? Value area high from yesterday, value area low. We are beneath that value area. That's another thing to take note of, right? That is bearish. So that being bearish, right? Knowing that this looks bearish, this is bearish below the value area high and value area low, and the questions don't really give us a bearish answer, but definitely more bearish than bullish. So with all that being said, we really just kind of expect, me personally will be watching to see if these single prints hold as support. If you don't want to initiate any shorts around here, which I personally wouldn't, 37.67, I would wait for the overnight low to get broke, right? So let's actually move that down a little bit. Looks like I missed it by a hair. That actually might have set a new low actually, but But yeah, I would wait for like a break around here when we open. Depending on where we open, we never know. This could fly up here and then open up here. But if we open around the single prince area, I would wait for a push down, maybe below the overnight low. And even then, I want to like initially short this like instantly as soon as it crosses below this. But if you were to do that, do it on a small position, right? If I do it myself, I would do it with a small position, right? Because you never know. You can get that break, maybe pushes down like a dollar or two, then that's when we get that failure down here, and then we run up. Because remember, that is a potential play that some of us are watching for, the look below and fail. So if this is a possibility, then there's no need to go like on a massively huge position knowing that you can get that happen, right? Just because you expect something like this doesn't mean you go and go in on a full position on that, right? What you could do is, let's say, buy one or two contracts, bop, they start to pull back, we get that right there, then it starts to come down. The minute we cross maybe the low of day right here, you add some, right? You've already confirmed overnight low is going to hold. That's your resistance. Maybe add some right here if you want. If you start seeing it come back down, you know, it depends on how aggressive of a trader you are, but you can definitely, just to be safer, add on the low of day, right? If we come down, create a low of day, come up, use that as resistance, and then cross through the low of day to the downside, that's just that would just be a nice little setup right there. Small position originally, and then you added to the position when you confirmed the direction was in your favor, right? So that's pretty much all I'm going to be looking for today. For anyone who's new to the channel, all the levels you see here, value area, overnight high, yesterday high, we use these levels and we react based on how price reacts to these levels. Okay, that's how we use them. So if price comes down to the overnight low, starts to reject, starts to go back up, we get like a look below and fail, then we obviously target like maybe value area low on the way back up, something like that. So that's how we use our levels. If you, again, if you'd like a little more explanation on that, shoot me a DM, let me know, write me in Discord or anything like that. I'd love to help anybody with any questions that you guys got. All right, so I believe that will do it for this morning's video. I hope that you guys, you know, found this helpful. I hope that anything I talked about may have taught anybody out there something on how to prep in the morning, what to watch for, and possibly just, you know, maybe I helped a little bit on how to read the charts. Who knows? All right, if I did, please let me know. That would make me that would be you know, it made me happy a little bit, right? But yeah, with all that being said, man, you guys have a good one, and of course I hope that you guys finish today big fat green day and make a bang, make a band. But if not, don't worry about it. The market will be here tomorrow, it'll be here next week, and there's always more opportunity for some money. All right, don't force anything, play patient, play smart, and to all, a good day. Peace.